Good morning. Today, 6th August 2024, we are going to discuss editorials of Hindu, and also we'll discuss one article from Business Standard. Today's quote, believe you can and you are halfway there. So, in every process, whenever you are starting something, you should believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself, you will almost accompanying yourself with hard work, yourself with dedication, yourself with perseverance, with yourself a motive with mission and vision statement to reach towards your goal in the path. This is your goal. This is where you start. So during this process you may encounter n number of things, n number of challenges. There are ups and downs are there, so you will learn all these things. So first, to initiate all these things, you must believe in yourself. This was told by Theodore Roosevelt. He was 24th president of United States of America. First article, it talks about justice delays and how it impacts Indian economy in particular, and how it impacts and makes economic burden. Chief Justice of India identified delays in resolution of the cases is equal to denial of the justice. We already know justice delayed is justice denied. Justice delays are the problems in other countries as well, but in India it is worst. We recently discussed there are 4 to 5 crore cases pending in all courts in India. According to World Bank doing business survey, average time taken to enforce a contract through court in India, it stood at almost 4 years. That means 1445 days, and it is lowest among the 5 countries. India's rank is lowest among the 5 countries. We can see World Bank survey can have some flaws, but that survey seek to capture global differences that tend to suffer from comparison challenges. When you compare global countries and India, our judicial delay problem is worst. But irrespective of where we stand on global ranking, the fact is remaining that judicial delay is very serious problem in India, and it is causing huge untold suffering, and even delaying justice to many of the people, many of the organizations. What is not understood is that the harm that delay cause in Indian economy, the delay, justice delays causes huge harm to the economy, because these delays are local to the position, and these are very complex and difficult to measure also. Courts across all states and union territories in India suffer from high level of judicial delays. It occurs at all levels, starting from lower level court, district court, session court, then high court and supreme court. Even tribunal are also functioning with the same thing in both civil and criminal cases. These delayed cases, the resolution, they will have the huge adverse impact on economy, economic activity. First thing, it leads to locking up of the assets. So those assets you cannot move. Someone borrows a huge amount of money and he has to pay interest. So understand the quantum of the gravity. Even land and other resources that can't be used optimally or flexibly. Even regular decision making also will be impacted because of this delayed justice. According to one estimate, as much as 200 billion is locked up in land related conflicts in India. This is just about land. Second class of impact includes legal cost. There are legal fees and also cost of time and efforts at the senior management. These are all things persistent for a long time. We cannot quantify how much impact these things, but these are very significant. The delay with related to impact and legal cost, it is very significant. We cannot directly ignore them. Apart from these two costs, there is expectation of judicial delays. Judicial delays, there is expected delays. Suppose case is arguing, the case will be delayed again and again and again. So this is called expectation of judicial delays. This will have again another advantage in judicial delays. Many economic relationship that could have been formalized through written contracts. By formalizing, suppose say two parties are there, if you formalize the contract between two and with proper working condition, how proper distribution need to be made or how fund need to be made, that could have been easily solved. But all these economic relations rely in the informal domain. Why they want to informal domain? We discussed that informal sector in India is 90%, only formal sector is 10%. Why people moving in informal sector? Many organizations they can afford legal cost when they are legal cost, all these things, but small and informal sector cannot afford this legal cost. They have to keep on going to the courts. This is very issue because judicial delay is altering the behavior itself. Unethical business practices, because of these issues, unethical, when informal sector things moves, it will become unethical practices. These unethical practices, when no one can identify, now judiciary is not at all uh, identifying these cases will be become entrenched. That means this will become a norm instead of outlier. These will become a norm and then everyone will start functioning in the same way. It will impact economy again and again. This is called vicious cycle. So court cases are pending, court won't not solve the cases, cases will be pending. So organization thinks thus this is the way we need to function. Again it happens in the round cycle. This is called vicious cycle. So we need to come out of that cycle. That's what author says. This will become a norm. There is a conflicting, difficult to enforce risk-taking behavior, also give more cautionary approach to these people, and business perspective is also more likely to have very short horizon. They won't think in long term, they will have the short horizon in where contracting is very ineffective. There are many claims made about culture of risk aversion in Indian business, the reluctance in invest in research and design. Why these all things happening? Because there are huge litigation charges and people are risk, they are not taking the risk in Indian business. They are even not interested in research and design also. Author says, if it is the truly culture of Indian business, the rational response of world judicial delays does not work well. Over and above this, there is a phenomenon of government related litigation. If you go to government offices, many government departments are involved in high share of total litigation. Suppose a government awards some contract to some private organization, then immediately in between it changes the clauses. It says now because of COVID has come, you supply these drugs. Earlier, this clause was not included by the government. Now, government bring these things. These unjustified organization, what they will do? They will file a case against government. Those will be pending. So, within the government, if you see, revenue and labor department, they report large share of these litigations. Given that these cases are not resolved for long, aggregate impact of these cases will have huge significance. Studies even documented inability of the government legal department to adequately respond to litigation requirement in timely manner. So government is also not responding in timely manner where 5 crores of cases are there. So government should work in such a way. What government will do? They will frame the laws. With that laws, they can increase the machinery, they can employ the more judicial official and the infrastructure can be improved, all those things. Government at central and state level need to invest in their own capacities. That's what author says. Each of these factors will have adverse impact on transaction and growth itself. If India is aspiring to become third largest economy in the coming decade, so India should study and resolve all these things. Studies, there are only few that estimated about gross domestic product growth and its impact due to judicial delays, but it can be concluded that there is a 1 to 2% decrease in uh, gross domestic product growth because of these judicial delays. Macro and microeconomic studies also find that industries with greater dependence with a specific investment and contracting more adversely impacted by these judicial delays. Today, we are employing complex manufacturing, even global supply chains, value chains, and relationship specificality in trade and investment. All this depends upon the contractor. So that need to be fairly enforced in a timely manner. If these things are not enforced, these will be keep on pending and then it will cause a huge damage to the organization. Government, whether government is now aware of all these things? No, government is aware. They have been written many things about underlying problems. Even Law Commission of India, Finance Commission, central government missions, even Supreme Court initiative also extensively documented these range of issues and possible solutions. One set of recommendation: greater judicial positions to increase judicial capacity in filling unfilled position, building adequate courtroom and judicial infrastructure, enhance new information technology mechanism. These things, they haven't even given recommendation in several times. Increasing the number of judges in sync with the population of 1.4 billion will require increasing judicial positions. Presently, we have 25,000. We need to increase 2 to 3 times of that. That means we have to make 75,000 judicial officials. Whether we are able to do that or not, we need to ask questions to the government. Of course, this would necessitate greater investment. For this, we need to make greater investment in constructing courts, libraries, in hiring administration staff, etc. Even improvement in IT technology also very required, even significant IT infrastructure also. Other issues include, frequent rotation of judges, and we need, if judges are locating at one location, they form groups and then there will be issue. So lack of grouping need to be made. The administrative practices should be improved. So good governance practice should be improved to enhance the speed and efficiency. Increasing the judicial position, improving the judicial infrastructure will not solve the problem related to judicial delays, because they are inbuilt in the system. In order to resolve them, we need to frame laws, rules, processes. We need to rotate the judicial officials from one area to another area. The practice of special and fast track court also does not help in long run. Why? Economic survey in 2017-18 told that initially tribunal worked very well, but later they made with a lot of rapid rise in pendency of the cases. There are huge pile of cases pending in these tribunals. While there are some laws need to be dropped or even changed, older laws, many practices, even they say adjournment, rotating of judges, poor matching of judges' expertise with case allocation require judiciary to align with the new need to reduce the pendency level. Many of these changes will require judiciary and even government to work in coordination to resolve these issues that have been, for time and again. And we have to deal with these inadequate resources and even workarounds. So we need to resolve all of them. It is easy to say there is a lack of coordination between judiciary and government, both at the central and state government level. So finger pointing, blaming, judiciary didn't do this, even government didn't do this, all these things will not help. We need to address coordination failure problem. Coordination should be maintained in order to bring justice to many of the people. We already told justice delayed is justice denied. One way is to institute high level committee headed by senior Supreme Court judges in time bound manner to identify a well coordinated approach between judiciary and government at both the central and state level. So this article talks about women violence, domestic violence. We'll discuss this article. India's electoral process presents dichotomy. What is dichotomy? You plan something, it goes in separate direction. So this is, there is a divergence. 64.2 crore people recently voted. Half of them were women. They also casted vote in the largest democratic process in the world. Country, in our country, every day 90 rapes are being reported, and very few, even 2,823 candidates contested in the election. They have put women's safety in their electoral agenda. Even those who did, none discussed about institutional violence that millions of women surviving through every day in the homes. Hence, this divergence is real. 50% of women face domestic violence. 2 out of 3 Dalit women face sexual violence in their lifetimes. Yet, political parties did not recognize this. Even voters did not seem to demand this. So, we demand freebies. We demand laptop. We demand liquor. We demand saris. We demand many things, but we don't demand women's safety. This is what author is telling. Gender-based violence is gender-based violence. Politicians, they presume that they cannot address is this because this is a specific act of violence which is oftenly contributed by their intimate partner. That means husband and wife our Indian politicians think that, see, this is a common matter, we shouldn't involve in this. A white paper developed through 200 hours of interview and discussion with lived experts, many of them. The author found that institutional violence on survivors, that means because husband causing violence on wife or intimate partners, even you can take any example. Basically, intimate partners causing violence on women is already prolonged, it is worse, and it is a specific case of gender-based violence itself. There is a where voters, this is the area where voters and politicians to make a vital difference. Institutional violence against survivors should start process influencing their decision to come forward. Why? In 2019, JPAL, this is a global policy think tank, it showed that 39% of the officers in India think that the gender-based violence are usually baseless. Why? Because our police system is very, they concerned about huge cases. Whenever these petty cases go, wife, husband attacking wife, our people thinks that they are baseless and they cannot even file a case also. Next, the author says, with this kind of brutal police system, decade-long traumatic judicial system, we already discussed there is almost 5 crore pending cases in the judiciary. No hope of justice, and this vicious cycle of violence will be maintained. So they will go to the police, police will not work out, and again, so they will face violence and husband attack, and then they will live in this life, this cycle. This is called vicious cycle. Women only seek justice when their circumstances become unbearable. Suppose a husband keep on attacking women, and when the condition comes to a point that they won't bear that, and then they will go and report. India is one of the see, 1 in 2 women facing intimate partner violence. India is the lowest in case of divorce rate in the world at 1%. 77% of women in India remain silent. Even their closest relatives also, they are silent about violence they endure. So next author talks about when women, Ranjita, the founder of Samatya, demotivated tribal youth and women organization. So she told a woman once approached to them with bleeding veins. So they taken her to police station to file a complaint. Then police told her she doesn't belong here. She is from Karnataka, and then they didn't file case. And they, again, this issue has become rampant. So they are not fighting. You can understand how it is a problem. Now the author goes on to discuss the problems women violence in rural India. In rural India, the impact is very dominant. Male and upper caste dominated panchayats add additional set of barriers to women. Male violence is there already, then again caste violence, upper caste will dominate them. Divorce is almost never option in rural India. India has a 4 crore backlog of pending cases. This will impact survivors of gender-based violence, even survivors from marginalized communities such as scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, with these pre-existing systemic inequities due to the caste, literacy, and geography. Getting justice in India can lead to a lot of injustice, says Ranjita. She's the author. They have lost hope in this. This is the area where our bureaucratic system, elected leaders can come forward and make a difference by creating survivor-centric institutions. What kind of these institutions? These social impact organizations take up the responsibility to train police and members of the judicial system to adapt this trauma-informed lens. They should, whenever they are inquiring the case, they should see from this angle also, trauma-informed lens. Women-led organization in Bundelkhand, this trains government officials, including police and law enforcement officials, on women-centric and survivor-centric processes. We need to adopt these learnings at national level, and we need wisdom of survivors of violence, especially those who are historically marginalized communities, and it will help in design and validate the justice system. India, there are strong domestic violence laws are there, but implementation is a big failure due to our officials not at all enforcing them. Even the process are very old. This is not surprising because official can come from very society that they have gone to the violence. So these violences have become part and parcel of their life. They think that this is normal. We need a national reimagination and improvisation of our justice institution. We need to leverage learnings of organizations such as One Ghana to make the trauma informed and focus on healing. We also need to more data and more stories to share publicly. For decades, institutional violence has been amplified by lack of data. It is impossible to truly understand how and how many women are being denied of access to justice. Recent criminal procedures that Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, these things are rightly focused through digital means. We need to, these things need to be accompanied by gender sensitive training and monitoring and evaluation measure to ensure staff have trauma informed approach to working survivors of violence. Voters and politicians have power to put a light on these issues and make a massive difference. For example, author says government campaign to promote education to girls, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. This program, you can see, this has brought a huge, impact in Indian soil, and then there is a huge change in mind of the people. For such a kind of thing to happen in small and large institution of our country, where survivors of violence no longer fear this repercussion of access to justice, we must demand our rights. Women deserve safety, dignity. We must fight for them. Women's safety is very important. This is the article. The next article we will be discussing about India's powering India's future. As we already discussed, India is the fifth largest economy. India is aspiring to become third largest economy. What is the contribution of energy sector in Indian economy? Author wants to say that Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented her consecutive seventh budget, and she notified India's commitment to its clean energy transition. The measures include developing policies on pumped hydro storage, energy transition pathways to support nuclear energy and energy efficiency. Even we discussed recently small and modular reactors. These are they will help in energy transition. We are yet to come out from record-breaking heat waves this summer we had, and this demand is still afresh. So electricity demand is going to grow. Clean energy transition is very much required because climate change is causing heat waves. These heat waves again impact. So we need to transition towards clean energies. This is reflect our both growing economy and warming climate. What will take India to keep its economy powered? India government, energy security and clean energy transition have its priorities. This is evident from three key milestones that author discuss here. First thing, government through Saubhagya scheme in 2020, it has electrified almost 97% of the households in India. It is the survey conducted by Council on Energy, Environment, Water also suggested this. Second thing, country India saw five-fold increase in installed renewable energy capacity, making India fourth largest country in the renewable energy capacity. Third thing, there is a 40% drop in losses in power distribution. Discom companies, Discom, what is Discom? Distribution companies. They will distribute the power. So they brought out 40% drop in aggregate losses to all-time low to 15% in 22-23. These all thing indicates Indian power sector is strengthening, the baseline is strengthening. However, what the, for power generation we are still relying on the carbon, so carbon burning of carbon or coal generates a lot of carbon dioxide. It even impacts environment. We need to power the system with speed and scale and supplying quality and affordable power to consumers. For that we need to go towards this cleaner energy. India's power sector must prepare for these strong headwinds. Why strong headwinds? Because every year there is a 7 to 9% of growth in electricity demand since this COVID-19 pandemic. Even our peak demand during night times, everyone will be using power. So this is called peak demand. So peak demand will be rising even faster. Climate change is bringing a lot of extreme weathers, and these things also bring a lot of challenges to the country. For distribution companies, meeting this unplanned increase in the power and these affordable options, this will become a huge challenging task for them. For that, India what need to do address all these things. First thing, India aspiring to generate 500 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030. Author says we should go beyond 500 gigawatt. There is only 13% of contribution in energy mix by renewable energy. Suppose say 100% is there, 13% is contributed by renewable energy. With previous shortages and expectation of rising demand, today artificial intelligence is everything is growing. These things should be utilized by policymaker to bet on this no coal capacity. We must strive share on renewables in power mix generation. We need to scale up our storage solutions. Renewables and storage can support peak demand and even cost competitive and faster to build. Second thing what author says to address this concern, we need to learn from world. China added 300 gigawatt of solar and wind capacity in 2023. Even European Union added 73 gigawatt. India stand at 140 gigawatt as of March, and even 128 gigawatt work is happening in the pipeline. This comparison indicates urgency in deploying the clean resources with speed and scale. Tapping this renewable energy potential in more states as well as the grid connectivity, access to suitable conflict-free land and timely commissioning of the projects. These things will help in diversifying our solar energy to other clean technologies would also help meeting India's evolving energy demand. Third thing what author says is we need to implement measure to improve availability of energy. In financial year 23, 6.3% of India's power generation was procured through power exchanges. Rest was arranged through bilateral agreements. This kind of low volumes of power exchange presents price volatility risk, demand and supply basically. When low units of electricity is there, then huge demand will be there, cost will definitely grow, and then it will ultimately impact people buying capacity. Then it will impact both buyers, that means we, the sellers, discounts from relying on exchange of power for procurement, even how much they have invested in, they have to recover. So value for recovery, all these things will be resolved through renewable energy. India needs innovation in a bid designs to attract renewable energy developers. For contracting, we need some innovations. While we make a contract, renewable energy, we need to give some incentives. We need to make some innovative mechanisms. From government, we make a lot of things so that they come and they will form long-term contracts. For example says renewable energy implementation agency, these bidding processes, developers may require to build part of the project capacities for merchant sale beyond the quantum for long-term contracts. Let us suppose they will build one project, so they will build this project for certain capacity and it will be continued for long term. Suppose they will build in 2 years and it can be operated for 10 years, so they will get also money and we'll also get electricity. Fourth thing, we need to ensure maintenance and utilization of the coal fleet. We have the coal, we are even importing coal from Australia and several other countries. So bituminous, lignite, anthracite, these kind of coal we are still using. Coal fleet, we are, author says we need to use coal fleet also because we are not completely depending on renewables. Coal plays important role. This Council on Energy, Environment and Water, its analysis of merit data shows for financial 24, more than 210 gigawatt of coal capacity generated, 80% of power during non-solar hours, right? 40 gigawatt of coal capacity was unutilized because of the plant shutdown, plant downtime. Whenever the plants are downtime, we cannot do anything. So this will be unutilized. State regulator must revise these norms to enable upkeep of this coal fleet and compensate the investment to make coal plant flexible. This coal plant, wherever they are there, so they should be made 100% operable, and at the same time we should make our coal fleet at all time. Finally, digitization is happening. It will empower the discoms and consumers to play active role in India's energy transition. Smart meters, one area where digitization can play a huge role, that enables the discoms that will help them to forecast accurately how much demand is coming from the through meter. If this meter work better and if they can be integrated with renewable, it can become even cost effective. More than 11 million, 1.1 crore smart meters already installed in India. You know, even half of this, 55 lakhs of these meters established in Bihar and Assam. So India can learn from here and India is smart metering drive far more than 250 million target. Discoms must overcome their hesitation, take inspiration from this Bihar and Assam. So they are reaping already benefits of reduced losses and timely delivery to consumers through this smart metering. Keeping consumer privacy, system preparedness against cyber attacks, all these things that brings digitalization, another effort that government must should work on this. All eyes are on Indian government to deliver this critical decade. India is going to become third largest economy in the country. So investing in this cleaner, flexible and resilient power grid will help our economy to grow sustainably. It will create jobs in clean energy sector. So that's it today. Thank you. Thank you very much for the discussion.